You know, this is an interesting article that was sent to us by Metro Mom Barb. And Barb, if you can weigh in on this conversation too, because I know you have a lot to say about this. This was an article about spanking. And I think what bothered all of us about the article was that it basically gives you, here's the biblical approach to spanking. Steps 1 through 7, here's basically the right way to spank your child. And I don't know, this really got you going though, didn't it?
It really did, because it wasn't only that this is the right way to spank your child, but basically plan on it. Just as a parent, it's your duty to spank your child, and that it did get me going.
Now, you are very much in the camp of spanking is not necessary. I think, you know, I raised 4 boys, and I'll tell you, there were times when they were little where a little whack on the backside was not, you know, out of line. I didn't think, but I think that I think when spanking is something that is that you are planning out, and that okay, come in here in the bedroom and you're going to get your spanking. I think that's a little.
You know, I think we all talked about how we were all spanked growing up, and I think, I mean, what happened to me would probably amount to, you know, going a little overboard with my mom. So I've actually gone out of the way not to spank my kids, and I am able to talk to my kids. I had a situation with Bryn last night. Bryn, mommy said, don't do that, and she ran out the room. I was like, I'm sorry, okay, but mommy was mad. So we had a conversation about it.
Wait,
and she won't
what's
do it
wrong?
again.
She ran out the room. Why didn't you go and grab her by the arm and say,
you
you
know
don't
why?
run out of the room
You know
when
why?
mommy's talking to you?
Because I scared my child, and I don't want my children to be afraid of me.
Sometimes you need to be, because you're not there to be their friend.
Now, when she's 16, she's going to give you the biggest run for your money you've ever seen in your life.
If you think for 1 second Bryn Neufeld is going to run over me, you got another thing.
But she did. She did. You just told us a story of her running over you.
She stopped doing what I told her to do, and then we were able to have a conversation about it. I'm going to do everything in my power not to spank my children. Period.
I don't have spawn, but when I do, I'm going to spank them. I got spanked. I turned out fine. I think we live in a world where everyone's like, oh, if you participate, you get an award. Don't hit your kids. And then I feel like the little people that are going to be like running this country now are going to have like, I don't know, no backbone, no self-discipline.
Well, there are ways to hold your kids accountable without beating them with something.
I don't think you need to get the frat
Barb
paddle
is
out.
shaking her head.
Okay, all right.
Are you
here's the
feeling
deal.
me?
Our job as parents is to raise kids to confidently function in the real adult world. When you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, you don't get hit over the head with that ticket book. If you slack off on the job, you get fired. Those are effective deterrents that are non-physical.
But a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old doesn't understand. You're fired.
But you may not know what a 3 and a 5-year-old is capable of. I simply challenge parents to look at the research. Science tells us it is never the best option to spank. It literally affects the gray matter in your brain.
I gotta go with what the Bible says.
Okay, but there's not one single article that
what science says
that it is a good option. It is linked to depression, mental disorders, addiction. Literally, the gray matter in the brain of children who are physically disciplined is different. And the thing is even that article states that once they get to preteen stages, it's not going to be effective. So what do you have? Now a preteen and a teen that you haven't really learned how to communicate with from a young age, like Dawn is doing, and establishing respect based on trust instead of fear. They know how to behave around you.
But I'm not saying that you don't still have conversations with your children and still, you know, urge them to learn how to make decisions properly and learn how that if you do this, that there are consequences. I think that they need to be taught that there are consequences, and sometimes the consequences are not fun, you know?
That's true, but it needs to be a real world consequence. Here's the thing, and you talked about a child running out, and that was probably my biggest challenge, was my kids running out in traffic. Because you hear a lot of parents saying, oh, only in the case of an emergency. In the case of an emergency, you pick up that child and you move them, because God forbid your child gets hit by a car. Are you going to say, I should have held their hand? Or are you going to say, I should have spanked her more?
No, I don't know.
I'm telling you, I can give Bryn the look, and she stops, and I don't spank that child.
Wait until she's 16.
I was raised, my turn. I was raised with spankings. I got a spanking with a belt. And then around
That's it?
And you were all jacked up. No, I'm kidding.
And I'm perfect now.
I'm kidding.
No, I have Mama Amy's back on this one.
So anyway, let me say this. So then we have our own kids, and then Bill, Bill would give our kids swats. They would get a swat if they did something wrong. If it was like really bad, not like all the time, but Daddy did it. And if I did it, they would laugh because it was not hard enough or firm enough to like get the point across. And I got to go back to like the way I was raised. The Bible says, "Spare the rod, spoil the child." I'm not talking about like a rod like you're swinging and you're hitting and hurting and whelps on the legs. I have a problem with all of that. But I do think there's a point where you have to be responsible as a parent to scold and to properly train your child so that when they're old, they will not depart from what they're supposed to do.
With force.
Says to put to death gay men and to own slaves as property and to sacrifice animals. It's outdated compared to the research, and
I think
I'm
that's
simply
the Old
challenging.
Testament.
But that part don't count.
I'm simply challenging parents to
Oh,
just take
Dawn,
a look
stop.
at the research.
I know you're laughing out of
There is a
I am
longer
not.
conversation here. As always, we love to urge you to join our conversations. You can always do that on our Facebook page, and we love to hear what you have to say. We sometimes surprise ourselves with what we say up here. Okay, we actually have a great show planned for you on this Monday. Don't go anywhere. The broadcast returns right after this.